All right, let's try this one more time. I've got some students who might be a little bit behind. They might need a little bit of help. I can't do it for you, but I can tell you that it's about habits. Like honestly, there's this thing. It's procrastination, right? And we procrastination's it's a symptom, right? There's a lot of reasons a person might procrastinate doing a thing. There are a lot of reasons, and I'm going to hopefully share a couple of habits that you should be able to build or work on that will help with the symptom, but also help at specific, and I see in my life, causes to that symptom of procrastination. So here's a couple of them. First, like it's scary, dude. Like learning is scary, trying is scary. There's a lot of fear associated with doing something new, especially when you're doing something new and then you're going to get graded for it and you're expected to be perfect, but you're not perfect. And there's a lot of fear involved in that. And my response to fear is something that I learned in high school. My response to fear is a quote from a movie. It's called Dune. It's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. But the quote, I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me, and when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path, and where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. And I mean, I've said that to myself like lots of times because I have to constantly remind myself that the fear is a temporary thing. Fear is not going to be around forever, and I can be brave, right? And if I push through that fear, I'll realize that it was just all in my mind, right? I'll realize that I'm stronger than that fear. So face your fears. Just do it. Second thing, the way we learn, the way humans learn, is not a like one and done kind of thing. It's not like you wake up in the morning and you say, I want to learn quantum physics, and you watch a YouTube video and now you know quantum physics. We are not Neo in the Matrix. We can't just download Kung Fu. It takes time, right? And the way I understand education in my life, at least, I have an experience. I do a thing. Then I reflect, I think about that thing. Sometimes I talk with other people. Oh my gosh, my wife helps so much. Like, I talk, and then I do this thing. Like, I think about what that means, right? So it's not just about what happened. The abstract conceptualization is like, well, if it happened over here, what's it going to be like in this other slightly different scenario? Or if it works in that way, then will I be able to change it in this other way? Which leads directly into the act of experimentation. I want to go have that experience again. And this time while I'm having that experience, I want to see if I can change it, right? And then bam, I'm having another experience, and did the thing I thought I was going to do make the change that I thought it would make? And that means I'm reflecting again, right? I'm talking about what just happened, and maybe I'm talking to other people about it. And it's a cycle. And each time we go through that cycle, we learn a little bit more about the nature of reality or the nature of ourselves. And it's a cycle. Yeah, it doesn't happen from a magic YouTube video. It doesn't happen from one single assignment. But because of the way that I think that humans learn, a lot of the assignments are very much kind of concrete experiences. I want you to try doing something. And a lot of the assignments, a lot of the educational value of the assignment doesn't come from like the lecture before the assignment. It doesn't come from the YouTube videos that you watch in preparation for the assignment. It comes from doing the assignment. Some of these assignments that I'm giving to you, I'm not really even like attaching a YouTube video. There's no like explanation. There's like, do this thing. And then you go do it. And then the rest of the process happens. that rest of the reflective observation, abstract conceptualization, active experimentation, that all happens after the assignment or because of the assignment. It's probably a little flipped from a lot of other teachers. That's okay. That's why asking questions is so darn important. None of us are asking enough questions. You need to ask more questions. It's just straight up. Like, start the assignment, do the assignment. But if you don't have questions during the assignment, if you don't have questions after the assignment, we've done something wrong. You should ask more questions. And ask me the questions. Send me an email. Stop me in class. If you're there in class, if you're on the Zoom, ask them during Zoom. If you're not available live, or if you're backed up right now and you're trying to finish 15 different missing assignments and you're like, oh, it's too late, just ask the questions anyway. I'm not judging you because your stuff is late. I don't care that your stuff is late. Like, you turn your stuff in. You ask those questions. You deserve to have your questions get answers. Yeah, like that's how humans learn things. Especially if you've got a whole bunch of stuff to do. It really might feel like there's just too much to do. And I find the thing that helps me get started is just to start. And strangely enough, it really is that silly, that easy. There's some days where the kitchen's just a mess and the dishes are piled high and the stove is filthy and nobody's swept for a week. And you just look at everything and you're like, how am I ever going to clean this kitchen? And then you just say, yeah, it's probably never going to happen. So you give up and you go watch a couple more YouTube videos in the couch and the kitchen doesn't get cleaned. And then, there are other days where you look at the same exact situation and you're like, how am I ever going to clean this kitchen? And you just breathe and you say, I don't know, but I'm going to start with the dishes. So you start with the dishes and then suddenly you're cleaning the kitchen and, a couple hours pass, but that's how my ADD works. And the kitchen cleaned just because I started. And if you can just trick yourself into starting, man, you've taken that first step. And that first step is probably the most important step, right? Like, once you start, it's a lot easier to keep going because you've got that momentum behind you. I don't know who it was. Probably some famous philosopher or physicist or mathematician. I don't know. Had something to do with an apple, I'm sure. Anyway, this guy, he's dead now. He said that an object in motion stays in motion, unless, of course, they're acted upon by an outside force, and an object in rest stays at rest, unless, of course, they're acted upon by an outside force. And the great thing is that I find that true to kind of be in my life as well. The more I'm doing, the more I'm capable of doing. I get busy, and then I just get stuff done, and life gets busier. But as soon as I kind of stop and I realize that, and then I'm stopped, and it's really hard to start again, because all I want to do is just sit there and not do anything, because I'm just sitting here and not doing anything, and that's all I've, been doing. Anyway, especially if you get into that rut, right? Especially if you're realizing that you've got a huge backlog of work to do. It might feel like perfection is out of reach. And I can tell you, at least from my class, at least for the educational experience that I want you to have, we're not after perfection here, right? We're after good enough, right? Like don't tell the principal, but C's get degrees, people. That's, just do it. And when you're doing it, just realize that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to give it a try. And as you're trying, ask questions, but don't let your feeling that the assignment isn't good enough stop you from turning it in. In fact, after you've worked on it, submit it. Just turn it in. Like that whole thing, that whole conversation, right? That whole experiential education, it's a process. It takes a concrete experience. It takes the assignment. You got to do that. Then you talk about the assignment. This is talking about the assignment. Submit the work. I'll help you reflect on that, right? And then we'll talk about, like, if you got to do this again, what would change? How would it change? What does knowing this now mean for other subjects in your life, right? I'll guide you through that process. Because when you submit the work and I give you feedback, the feedback I'm giving you, it includes points, but it also includes paragraphs, right? It includes like words, like, because your assignment isn't worth just points. It's about the educational experience. And if you do the work, if you're there for 20, 30 minutes on the assignment, like, just turn it in. Don't spend hours on these things. I'll be honest here, some of these assignments are lifelong callings for some people. They start on these things and they just love it so much they never stop. And if that's the case for you, fantastic. But if you're doing this and you realize there's always more to go, it's because there's always more to go. But if you're not enjoying it, just submit the work. You're going to be fine. Hit the submit button. If you do find something that you really enjoy, though, or that you're really good at, lean into that stuff. If you get lucky enough to find something that I've submitted as an assignment to you that you just really enjoy, chances are you can make probably a full-blown adult career out of it. Because that's how I see the world. Yeah, and yeah, if you're good at something, lean into being good at it. Maybe you're an artist and you're in my robots class and you're like just not able to put the resistors in the proper spots. Okay, fine. I mean, try it. But maybe you're really good at art and you just want to recreate that like image of the instructions and you just want to draw that out. Draw it out. Try the other thing and draw that out and send me your fan art along with it. And we'll have that conversation. And again, the feedback you're going to get is going to be points and paragraphs. It'll be fine. Especially when we look at the long term, right? I spent most of this time talking about the short term. It's a huge mountain that you're climbing in the educational field, right, that you're in right now. During this whole thing, you're going to be exposed to a lot of different stuff. I hope that during your time with us, right, you're going to be able to find the things, you're going to be able to be exposed to the things that you love, right? Maybe you don't know what that is yet, right? Sometimes, I mean, I'm old. I run into things all the time that I've never heard of that suddenly spark joy in me, right? Like, I've got friends who are in their like 50s and they still haven't quite figured out what they love doing. And so they're still looking, right? If you get lucky enough to find something that you're good at and something that you love, like just doing, and if you're lucky enough that the world wants to pay you for that and the world needs more of that in it, man, you found that magical, mystical ikigai or ikigai. Yeah, I think that's how it's said. I don't speak Japanese. It's a fancy Japanese word. But it's like that bit where like everything just works. Yeah. Yeah. That's the goal here, right? But that's a long time goal. That might not happen. Maybe you spend all of high school and middle school finding what you love, finding what, but you find out that you're not good at anything. Maybe that will be sad. Maybe you find something that you're really good at, but you just don't love. That's fine too. It's fine, because the more things you try, the more things you experience, the greater possibility, the odds are in your favor that you will find something that you love, that you will find something that you're good at, that you'll find something that you can get paid for. And that, my friends, is my advice to you. It's a little long-winded, but you can do this. All right? Good luck.